It's time for another episode of Fans from the Stands, a Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Here are your hosts, Ivan Roy and Mickey T.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Fans from the Stands. This is season 5, episode 2.
Woohoo!
It's easy when there's only 2 episodes you can count that high. I'm your co-host, Mickey, along with my buddy, Ivan.
Hey, everybody.
Well, this is our fifth annual prediction show.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to giving our predictions, not only for the Blue Jays, but for our predictions across the league and see how bad we are at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's always the fun part, is to see how far off we are.
Yeah. But first, before we start, I guess we'll turn a little bit of Blue Jay news. So the Blue Jays announced their final roster for this upcoming season. Well, I guess the start of the season. Starters aren't a big surprise. We have Brios, Gossman, Scherzer, Bassett, and Francis. That's who we kind of expected would be the starters, right?
Yep.
Bullpen's a little bit different. Jeff Hoffman, Yimi Garcia, Chad Green, Yariel Rodriguez, Nick Sandlin, Brandon Little, the lefty, Jacob Barnes, and Richard Lovelady.
Yeah.
So
There
we're
are
a little
two
bit
names there
surprised.
that I'd never heard before.
Jacob Barnes and Richard Lovelady.
Yeah.
Yeah. The two late additions to the bullpen, both veterans. And Yarborough didn't make the squad.
I don't understand that, but whatever.
I guess to have two long relief guys in your bullpen might be too much. Yariel doesn't have any options, so they can't send him to the minors. They'll get claimed. So that's my only guess as to why they didn't keep him. Maybe he was insurance in case someone got hurt, or Scherzer didn't look good, or they had to put him on the IL or something. And it didn't hurt Yarborough's case, anyways. He signed with the Yankees I guess a couple hours later
Yeah, and I
for
guess
$2 million.
we'll talk a little bit about the Yankees a little later on, but
Yeah. Infielders for the Jays: Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero, Alejandro Kirk, Ernie Clement, Davis Schneider, Andre Jimenez, Will Wagner, and Henneman. Outfielders: Miles Straw, George Springer, Anthony Santander, Alan Roden, and Nathan Lucas.
yeah.
Anybody surprise you there?
Not really.
No, it's
Those
kind
are
of what you
the names.
expected.
Yeah, like those like fielders, that's pretty much who I was expecting.
I think really it came down to a couple pieces. Well, Varsho being on the IL to start the season really opened up a spot in the outfield, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of, I think, helped Miles Straw's case and Alan Roden. I guess more for Alan Roden.
Yeah.
They're paying Miles Straw $12 million. So
Yeah.
get out there and do something.
And he's been
Uh,
hitting like Ted Williams there, so during spring
yeah,
training.
so we'll take it.
Yeah.
And I think I really like Addison Barger.
I do as well. The problem is that because we picked up uh, Andreas Jimenez
Yeah,
to play second base, that was one of our open positions last year. Like last year, you had a crew of Schneider and Wagner and Clement, and it had like a whole rotation going
Gio
through
for a
second.
while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and going through second and third, and now all we have open really is third base.
Grace. And I mean, as soon as there's an injury in the infield, I can see Barger being called up right away. So
Yeah,
he's been barreling everything in spring training. Just it was, yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a big Barger fan. So hopefully he gets called up. But I have no complaints with this roster as it's set up now. At least I'm glad David Schneider's. I mean, he made a case for himself in this spring training. He hit well.
he was on the bubble.
Yeah, and he made adjustments, I think, and I think he
Yeah,
proved himself.
yeah, because
Um,
he's one of the players that at the end of last season, I was thinking that if he doesn't have a good spring, I think he's one of those players that are on the bubble of either being cut or optioned if he still has options.
yeah, there's Will Wagner. He'll be the DH probably, most
DH
likely, and
first
so are
base.
splitting or first base, splitting time maybe Ernie Clement at third.
Yeah.
Tyler Henneman. This is a remember when catchers were our strength?
Yeah.
like maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and now aside from Kirky, and we'll get to Kirky in a second, there's nobody left. There's nobody in the cupboards anymore.
Yeah.
So that's a good segue into, well, before we get into Kirk, we'll talk about the outfield. Miles Straw, like we mentioned, is getting paid $12 million, and he hit well this spring. Apparently, this new hitting coach, do you remember his name by any chance?
Uh, Popkins?
Sure, sounds
Uh,
good. I think it's Popkins, yeah.
Dave Popkins, I think.
Uh, anyways, I guess the players are really taken to his hitting approach.
Yep.
So Miles Straw has really said he had a down year last year because he got outrighted by the Guardians to the minors, just not in a good headspace. Now he's got a second chance with Toronto. Santander is going to be the left fielder, DH. Springer, we'll talk about Springer in a second. Alan Roden, who we just mentioned, uh, college kid. Am I right in that? He's from NCAA.
I believe so, yeah. He's got a lot of playing time, which
He's
I
not
guess, yeah.
like he's not young. Like actually he's the same age as Vladimir Guerrero.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? So we're talking about a kid that's like, oh, a kid, and he's going to come up and he might make the team. And Guerrero's been playing for what, 6 years?
Yeah.
And then Nathan Lucas, who is basically he's a major league outfielder. He's been kind of um, blocked by a lot of other players Toronto has in the outfield.
Yeah.
He's 30 years old. Do you know that?
Yeah.
I had no idea Nathan Lucas was that old.
Yeah, which is why, like, depending on how people end up playing when Varsho comes back, Nathan Lucas might get cut. If Roden's tearing the cover off the ball, which he has
Gotta
been
keep.
during spring training,
Yeah.
Nathan Lucas might be the odd man out.
I see. I I like George Springer. Don't get me wrong, but I think his time is come and gone.
I think so.
What do you do with George Springer? It's mid-May. He's batting a buck 59.
That is a tough decision because you owe him like what, 25 million this year, 25 million next year.
Yep.
That's a lot of money to eat if you're just going to cut.
But you're also in a win now kind of mode, right? Especially if you're signing Vlad, and we'll talk about Vlad's contract in a second. If he does have a contract, you're in a win now situation where do you hang on to a guy just because you're paying him $25 million and he's batting 159, or you can have Alan Roden playing right field, who's I'm just assuming he's batting better than George Springer
Yeah.
and probably plays a better defense. That to me, I can see, and I'll talk about this in our predictions. I can see George Springer not playing the full year.
Yeah. And that's where you kind of, not that you hope for it, but that's where you kind of hope for an injury.
Right.
Or maybe he
Maybe
has a
just
phantom neck injury that, George, we
this
need
was
you
going
to
to keep you out all year.
head down to the IL for a little while.
Yeah, I don't I don't see him playing the full year, but in any event, I like what I've seen from Miles Straw. I like obviously Santander's our big pickup, and the rest of the infield looks good. David Schneider probably play some left field and second base when Jimenez needs a day off. Although Jimenez usually plays 162 games, so
Yeah.
um, yeah. So kind of getting on to catching again. Tyler Henneman's our backup. He's not going to hit
No.
anything, so. Um, I don't know. We'll see how things go.
Yep.
Starting pitching is we were talking about before the podcast. Starting pitching is very slim, right? One injury and Jake Bloss gets called up, and
Yep.
then after that we're looking at take your pick.
Yeah. Hold off until late summer so that we can get Manoa back up.
Roll back. I think the Jays will be doing some contract pickups in the next couple of days to fill out their AAA squad to get a little bit more depth, hopefully, in their starting rotation.
Yeah.
Our bullpen, like we said, looks good. It's kind of what we expected.
Yeah.
Not a lot of not a lot of heat coming from that bullpen, but good movement, kind of what the Jays have been doing the past few years.
Yeah,
Let's get on to so we talked a little bit about Kirky. He signed Alejandro Kirk signed the captain, signed a 5-year, $58 million contract.
fair.
And
I
right
think that's a good
before,
contract.
I think it's a great contract. And just right before we were going to record this podcast, I saw that Cal Raleigh signed a 6-year, $108 million contract.
Yeah.
So I guess the Jays got the ball rolling in the catcher contract department.
Yeah.
Ba- Basically, the Jays bought out the last year of arbitration of Kirky's contract, so I think it equals out to what, 4 years at uh, 10, $11 million.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, which if you listen to some podcasts, like I was listening to Blair and Barker, Barker. Uh, that's an interesting duo, right? Blair Barker. You got the
Yeah.
grumpy old man and the ex jock. Like,
Yeah.
listen to Blair and Barker, and Barker's barking about the fact that Kirk shouldn't be paid this much money because he hasn't proved it yet, and why are you paying him so much? I'm like, well, didn't we just go through this with Vlad?
Yeah.
Like, aren't we all now complaining that we should have signed him like 4 years ago?
Yep.
So I don't think it's about it. I mean, he's an elite defender.
Well, that's exactly it. For the last 3 seasons, he's been one of the best defensive catchers, best framers. He's got the ABS down to an art right now.
Yeah,
Every
yeah,
single one of his challenges were correct.
that's correct. Yeah. We'll come to that in a second. And even for offense, if you look at his stats compared to other major league catchers, he's average, if not a little bit above average for
Yeah.
catchers.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's a great contract, especially since there's no one else. I mean, there's no Danny Jansen anymore. There's no
Gabriel
Gabriel
Moreno.
Moreno. I mean, it's pretty dry down there. So
Well, they're
um,
young. The catchers that they've picked up recently are all like 18 right now. So
yeah,
it's
and there's the one they got for from Seattle last year is 24, I think, but he's still like a
yeah.
rough project. So yeah, I think this is a great contract for the Jays to sign Kirk and get him locked up.
Yep.
And we talk about pitch framing. That was one of the questions that came up in one of the podcasts I was listening to. If ABS does come back, so ABS is the automatic balls and strikes that they've been using in the minor leagues for a few years now, and they tried it in spring training for MLB, and it seemed like it worked well.
Yep.
I mean, it's as simple. So for those who don't know, you get three challenges. If it's a ball or a strike, and if the umpire calls a ball or a strike and you disagree, so get two challenges.
Two challenges. Yeah.
Two challenges. Uh, Two challenges. And if it's a ball or a strike, the umpire calls, and you want to challenge that, you just either the catcher, pitcher, or batter can challenge it by tapping the top of their head. Timeout's called, and they go right away to the instant replay, which is almost seamless.
Yeah.
Like as soon as they call for the instant replay, it's right up on the jumbotron, and then everybody in the stadium can see it, and whether it's a ball or a strike. Um, so that's coming soon. So one of the arguments was if you're paying Kirky for his pitch framing, so he's stealing a couple balls and strikes, and this ABS system comes into play, are you really do you lose that part?
I don't think so because you only
Exactly.
get two challenges. If once you're out of
That's
challenges,
exactly right. Exactly. That was my argument was, well, you only get two challenges. You're not going to use them up in the first two innings. You might, if you do use one in the first two innings, you lose it. So he'll still use balls and strikes. Just maybe not the whole game's worth, but plus he works well with the pitchers. So I mean, I think it's for all the contracts I thought that would be signed by opening day. This wasn't the one, and
yeah.
I didn't think it'd be this one. Um, let's talk a little bit about Vlad. So there's a rumor going around today somewhere. I don't. I've seen it on multiple sites. Now the Jays and Vlad have agreed on a $577 million contract over 15 years.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't see that anywhere.
Oh, really? Eh? I've seen
I
it in a
just
couple.
saw, yeah, I just saw like our friends kind of talking about it in our group chat.
No, I've seen it. Saw it on Twitter, and I think Instagram, but I'm not 100% sure where this rumor has come from or where it started. Be an annual average value of $38.5 million a year. It's a lot of money in a lot of years. I just don't see this being true. The last report we had was that Vladimir Guerrero was asking for 500 million for over 14 years, I
Yeah,
believe, and the Jays were offering 450. So they're $50 million apart. The last,
yeah.
I can't see them all of a sudden jumping. The Jays jumping 125 million dollars in an extra year. I find that odd. Although this soap opera's been going on a little bit. Remember when the start of spring training, he said that would be the last day of you negotiate till the season ends,
Yeah.
and then now, and it's kind of they've kind of gone back and forth in the media. And then Mark Shapiro the other day was talking to media, and he basically said that the deal is going to get done. So when that happens, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, so look, the way I look at it is long contracts are unavoidable nowadays, especially when it comes to a franchise marquee player. So I figure, like, I mean, they were willing to pull a trigger on Shohei and Juan Soto, which I get it. They're in another level, but Vlad's not that far off. So I figure if you're going to pull the trigger on a massive contract and a long-term contract, why not be a homegrown talent, somebody that, that the fans have grown to love over the last 6 years?
I I agree. It's a guy that, especially when you've had issues signing guys to come to Toronto,
Yeah,
and now you're gonna have a guy that wants to stay, apparently allegedly wants to stay here.
yeah,
So why not sign him to that? Yeah, it might cost a little bit more to keep him here, but in the end, you mean you lose Vladdy. Like if we look at it, and like we've just talked a bit about the roster. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I think we're still one bat short. Um, you take a you take Vladdy out of that lineup.
yeah.
That's a pretty weak lineup.
It is, especially
Take
considering
Vladdy
it's,
and Bo out that lineup.
yeah, like Bo's walkier also, right? So if he's gone and Vlad's gone, you got Santander.
I mean, and George Springer.
Yeah,
And whoever you have playing Paul DeYoung playing short,
yeah, no kidding.
and I don't know, Paul Goldschmidt playing first. Uh, I don't know. I hope the rumors are true that maybe just the value amount's wrong. I can actually see, and I think I've said this in our group chats, that I actually see this being done before the opening day.
Yeah,
They get a deal, they hammer a deal done now. They don't have to worry about it the rest of the year. And it's kind of a celebration when opening day starts
yeah.
at 3 o'clock on Thursday.
We'll get put up on the big jumbotron in the opening
Yeah,
ceremonies.
yeah. Any other Jays news that you can think of? I mean, it's been a whirlwind of a spring training. Nothing really major in Jays land though.
No, nothing,
Everyone's
nothing
healthy
major.
except for
They won the
Max
Grapefruit
Scherzer's
League.
thumb. They won the grape. That's right. They won the Golden Grapefruit.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a thing, but yeah, they won. They won the most inconsequential award in baseball. The award that means nothing. They won the best record in the Grapefruit League. I guess they've basically gotten away from spring training injury free, which is great,
yep,
except for Max Scherzer's thumb.
yep.
But he pitched the other day, said he felt good, looked good. I think that's going to be an issue all year.
I think so too. I can totally see him having to take a couple weeks off here and there just to. It's gonna be one of those summers, man. Every time he's on the mound, we're like, please don't break a thumb.
Don't get hurt. Uh, he's our strikeout. He's going to probably be one of our strikeout leaders. Him and Gossman going back and forth.
Yeah,
Just going to check my. Oh yeah, and another former J, Kevin Smith. You might remember him for the guy that was traded for
Matt
Matt Chapman. Announced his retirement from the game of baseball at the age of 29.
Yeah, he was so highly touted when he was in the Jays system way back.
He was one of those guys that wasn't highly drafted, but was kind of one of those minor leaguers that kind of took the minors by storm, and then they put him in the fall league, and then they had high hopes for him, and
Yeah.
he was batting over 300 in the minors, and yeah, got traded for Chapman, and then went on to bat I think 186 and then
Yes, something like that.
156, and just
Couldn't even bat his weight.
nah. Unfortunately for Kevin Smith, it wasn't his league to. I mean, maybe the KBO
Or become a pitcher.
like Joey Gallo. We'll get to him after. Anyways, uh, best part of I think the best part of our podcast, we'll go around the horn. And, I guess before we give our predictions, we'll just go quickly to stuff that's happening around the league. And then we mentioned become a pitcher. We say that because Joey Gallo, the strikeout leader and strikeout king, has now become a pitcher.
Hopefully becoming another strikeout king.
So that's something interesting. Mike Moustakas retired from baseball.
Yeah.
This I found really interesting. The White Sox had Brandon Drury in their major league camp. You know what Brandon Drury batted this spring?
No.
410
Wow.
in
So
41
see,
trips.
that's not bad.
It was great. 410, I think 4 home runs. He got cut.
Really?
Yeah, he fractured his thumb,
Uh,
so they cut him. And I just I felt horrible for him because the year before, he batted 169 with the Angels. So former Blue Jay Brandon Drury
yeah.
looking for a job. Hopefully, his thumb heals and he's back up. Jesse Chavez, another former Blue Jay.
Still alive? He's old.
What is he? 85. This one's dead. We'll scratch him off. Um, he's re-signed a minor league contract with the Atlanta Braves. Speaking of the Atlanta Braves, they signed. Oh my gosh, I just forgot. I was going to say Daniel Vogelbach, but that's not true. No one signed Daniel Vogelbach. He played left field for the Yankees last year.
uh,
Starts with the V, doesn't it?
I can't even think about it.
He was traded for Mookie Betts in the
Oh,
Red Sox.
Verdugo. Verdugo.
Verdugo, Alex Verdugo. He didn't get one single contract offer until like 2 days ago from the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah. That
That's
was a
incredible.
long time because he's not a bad player. He's good defensively.
And he's still going to hit you at 15, a minimum 15 home runs.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Jays didn't have such an influx of outfielders, I think that he could have taken a flyer on him. But
Yeah.
yeah, he just signed with the Braves as well. And like we said before, Ryan Yarbrough signed with the injured New York Yankees. Let's talk about the Yankees because they're in
Yeah.
our division. Yankees got hit with an injury bug like
Oh,
a lightning bolt.
yeah, no kidding. So you got Garrett Cole. He's going to go for Tommy John, and
Yeah,
so he's out for the year. Another starter, Clark Schmidt, dealing with right shoulder fatigue. He's expected to return in April, but that all depends on how well his stamina can build up. Then you've got another starter, Luis Gill, dealing with a right lat strain, and we know that that lat strain you can either recover fairly well or not at all.
right.
Um, so he's possibly due back in June, but once again, that all depends on how well his rehab goes. Tons of relief pitchers like Jonathan Loaizaga. We're talking Tyler Matzik. We're talking Ian Hamilton. All these pitchers either have infections, calf strains. It's just unbelievable. And it doesn't even stop there. Some of their batters, hitters, Giancarlo Stanton blew out both elbows. Don't know
Both
how.
elbows.
Like what the hell? And DJ LeMahieu.
So if you look at I'm looking at the Yankees starting rotation. These the first two starts. Oh, sorry. This is their spring training. I'm not trying to find their their first few. Who's going to be their starting pitchers, and they haven't even announced them yet. Um,
Well, you got what, Carlos Rodon?
yeah, so yeah, I mean, they're not horrible, right? They have Carlos Rodon, Max Fried, Marcus Stroman. You said Carlos Clark Schmidt's hurt.
Yep.
They have Carlos Carrasco made the team,
Oh, so let's say
former
that's
Guardian,
depth
former
at,
Met,
yeah. And then of course
and
Yarbrough.
Will Warren. Who's Will Warren, you ask? I have no idea. Um, but I think he's a rookie.
Yeah. But like some of those guys, they just kind of they're just hoping that they can hold them off until, Clark Schmidt can return and Luis Gill.
Well, Carlos Rodon didn't look great last year. Max Fried is their big free agent signing
Yeah.
from the. And then there's Stroman, who they weren't. He wasn't even in the rotation at the start of spring training.
Yeah.
And Clark Schmidt injured. Carlos Carrasco was a non-roster invitee, and Will Warren I've never heard of. So then you look at their bullpen, which is relatively solid, I would guess. Question mark. Devin Williams is their closer, which is great. But then after that, Luke Weaver had a great year last year.
Yeah.
But then you have like Brent Hedrick, Fernando Cruz, Ian Hamilton. I think Ian Hamilton's hurt, isn't he?
Yep. He's hurt.
Mark Leiter Jr., Ryan Yarbrough, Tim Hill, and Yoendris Gomez. I mean, and then yeah, right. And then their their lineup isn't looking that great either right
No.
now because you said, and I'm sure we'll get to this in our predictions, but right now they have first base is Goldschmidt.
Yep.
I don't even know who's playing second base for them now that LeMahieu's out.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, got shortstop. You have Volpe, third base.
LeMahieu's
Mm-hmm.
not so
LeMahieu's not there,
so it's probably
so
gonna be a Peraza, Osvaldo Peraza,
oh, that's right, yeah. Then you have uh, their pickup from the Cubs there this year
Bellinger.
in center field,
Bellinger.
Bellinger,
Yeah.
Judge and right, which is great. And then
Yeah.
left field you have
Martian Dominguez.
yeah. So who's not a great out? No, who's not a great outfielder. I mean, it just doesn't seem like that potent lineup.
Yeah, like before spring training kind of happened and before all the injuries started to happen, I had them as one of the top teams in the division, and I've completely revamped my outlook on the Yankees just because of all the injuries.
Or second base will be Jazz Chisholm Jr. That's right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I forgot they got him last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, looking at a catching is Austin Wells, Goldschmidt at first, Chisholm at second, Oswaldo Cabrera at third, Volpe at short, Jason Dominguez in left, Bellinger in center, Aaron Judge in right, and Ben Rice, DH.
Yeah.
I called him, didn't I call him the Timu Aaron Judge?
Yeah.
Same height, opposite side of the plate, and I don't know, he didn't look great. He didn't look great in spring training when I saw him against the Jays, but I guess we'll get to our that. With that being said, we'll get to our predictions. This is always the highlight of my off season. So we'll start with our picks for the National League West.
Okay.
Did you do how many wins they're going to get?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so we'll see how we do here. So NL West, you start. Who's your first, second, third, fourth, and fifth place teams?
So I've got the Dodgers,
Yeah.
San Diego, Arizona, San Francisco, Colorado.
So we're pretty close. I have the Dodgers. I think anybody with half a brain would take the Dodgers to finish first.
Yep.
They're already 2-0.
Yeah.
I have the Dodgers. I have the D-backs playing in second, Padres in third, Giants in fourth, and Rockies in fifth.
Yeah.
Anybody's anything? I think for me, the reason I picked the D-backs with the Padres is just pitching for the D-backs. Is I think
Corbin Burns.
to carry them beyond the Padres, but
Yeah.
um, then it's Giants and Rockies. You just flip a coin.
Yeah.
NL Central. Who do you have?
I have the Cubs,
Okay.
Reds, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Pittsburgh.
So we're pretty close. We're a little like we flipped a couple teams. I picked the Reds. I think I always had this stupid like I'm gonna surprise. They're gonna be a surprise team this year. So I picked the Reds to be my surprise team this year. I think Terry Francona is going to do some wonders in that with that team. I have the Reds, Cubs, Brewers, Pirates, and Cardinals.
Well, you got Cardinals last.
Yeah, but it's funny because I checked RotoWire, looking at the predictions, and they had the Cards finishing first in that division.
I know, I saw that, and I'm like, what the hell?
Like, someone missed some numbers there, or what? And I checked, and then I looked at their roster. I'm like, am maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah.
Like maybe the Cardinals have some really good prospects that I totally forgot about. And I looked at the prediction for the roster and the starting pitching, and I'm like, no, no. Aside from Sonny Gray, there's nothing really. Lars Nootbaar,
Yeah.
Wilson Contreras, or is one of the Contreras guys. That's about it.
Wilson. Wilson.
Wilson Contreras, that's right. NL East. I'll go first this time. I have the Phillies,
Yep.
Braves, Mets, Nats, and Marlins.
Okay, so I've got the same, but I'm flip-flopping the Mets and the Braves. I got
Oh,
the
yeah, the
Mets
Mets
coming in
finishing
second.
second.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. Wow. MVP?
Ooh, MVP, I would probably give it to Shohei.
Yeah, I have Shohei as well.
Who do
Cy
you have
Young?
for, eh?
Oh, we have for what?
For this, I was going to say, who do you have for the Cy Young?
Paul Skeens.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Not a big surprise in the National League, I think. But Rookie of the Year?
I didn't even think about Rookie of the Year. I would say Sasaki.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even think of Sasaki. I have Dylan Cruz from the Nats,
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
outfielder. But Sasaki be a great bet. Moving on to the American League. American League West, I'll start off. I have the Astros, which I found surprising. Astros, Rangers, Mariners, A's, and Angels.
Okay.
Who do you
I've
have?
I've got the Rangers, Astros, Mariners, A's, Angels.
So we just flipped the first two teams. Eh?
Yeah.
Um, AL Central. This one was tough.
Right?
And if you look at my like wins and losses record to my AL Central teams, like they're if this happens, there's gonna be like a fight to the end.
It's gonna be
Like
like everybody's gonna be like between 82 and 88 wins.
well, I have my fourth place team with 81 wins and my first place team with 85 wins.
Yeah.
So like they're gonna beat each other up all year.
Yeah.
But in any event, I have the Tigers finishing first, the Twins, then the Royals. But I have the Twins and Royals tied
Okay.
in wins. Guardians and then the White Sox.
Yeah. I've got the Royals,
Yeah. Wow.
Tigers, Tigers, Twins, Guardians, White Sox.
It was to be honest, you could have picked anybody to finish first, or
Yeah.
like it was a toss up all the
Yeah.
way. I think this would be a really fun division to watch. The White Sox, I still have losing over 100 games.
Same.
101, I have 101 losses for the White Sox. All right, AL East. So I don't know what's been going on around the league. Listening to prediction shows on MLB radio, podcasts, people are just all of a sudden just kind of forgotten about the Orioles.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why that's happening. Maybe because Gunnar Henderson's on the IL right now. I don't even know why he's hurt.
And they lost Corbin Burns.
Yeah, but then you still have Grayson Rodriguez, and they signed Kyle Gibson.
Yeah.
um, anyways, my predictions for the AL East are the Red Sox. And this is another division that's really tight.
Yep.
The Red Sox finishing first. The Orioles and Jays tied for second with 86 wins. The Rays in fourth, and then the Yankees in fifth.
Okay. So I also have the Red Sox finishing first.
Okay.
I've got Baltimore second, Jays third, Yankees, and then Rays.
This is another tough division. And you're right. Had it not been for all the injuries the Yankees have faced, especially in their pitching, they'd be probably battling for first.
Yeah.
I can't figure out why the O's are maybe. I mean, you lose. I guess you lose a 40 home run guy like Santander.
Yeah.
Um,
But they're hoping that, like some of their young guys that are coming up, like Colby Mayo and
Mayo, yeah,
well, he didn't make the team, but he's the next guy up, right?
yeah.
So
And then there's Holiday,
Jackson Holiday and
Justin Holiday. He'll be playing a full season, so I don't see a huge drop off. Maybe I'm
no.
wrong though. Hopefully, I'm wrong.
And they have one of those young guys is one of their guys that are coming up to pitch there. So I mean, one of their top
Yeah,
prospects is a pitcher, right? So
well, we'll find out the first series in Toronto.
yep.
MVP. Who do you have for the MVP in the AL?
MVP in the AL, I have Bobby Witt Jr.
That's a popular pick. That's a good pick too. I think he's. I said Mike Trout last year.
Yep.
I'm saying Mike Trout this year.
Really?
Yeah, he's hit 3 home runs or 5 home runs in spring training this year. Looks good. Going to be playing right field or left field. He's going to stay on the field the whole year.
That's
Solaire's going to give him some protection.
I would totally be on board for that to happen because let's be honest, Mike Trout's had a pretty shitty go for the last few years there, and
Yeah.
I want him to have a good season because he's one of those guys that he was the face of baseball for so long.
Here's what I want to have happen. I would like for the Angels to eat up 80% of his contract, trade him to the Jays. You give up Alan Roden. You give up
George Springer,
George
and we'll eat
contract for contract.
his contract.
We'll eat his contract. And then I don't know, give another prospect, throw in somebody. Addison Barger, sure.
Yeah,
And take Mike Trout. Could you imagine Mike Trout, Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero?
yeah,
Anyways, that's never gonna happen, but
yeah.
what a dream. So I took Mike Trout again. Cy Young, who'd you take?
Cy Young, I've got Tarek Skubal.
Back to back Cy Youngs, eh? I because Terry School's on my Strato team, I really wanted to take him again.
Yeah,
But
you're taking
I'm
Crochet, aren't you?
no,
No.
no, I'm going on a limb here.
Oh, okay.
DeGrom.
DeGrom. Well, if his arm stays on,
Yeah, you know, people are he's healthy.
we've heard that
So
before.
I'm betting on the Rangers having a decent year. Rookie of the year, did you pick anybody?
Uh, I don't know. I don't even know who's a rookie this year. Let's see here.
Alan Roden.
Alan Roden would be nice. You know what? I'm gonna probably go with Colby Mayo from the Orioles. I think he's not on the team yet, but I think he'll make his way up and
He'll he'll be there soon.
yeah.
I have Roman Anthony from the Red Sox.
Hmm.
So who's your playoff teams?
Playoff teams I've got oh geez. Well, that's
In the National League.
National League. Well, you got the Dodgers, Padres, Cubs, Mets, Phillies. Am I missing one?
That's six.
Six. Yeah, I got six, right?
Yeah, six, yeah.
Yep.
I have the Dodgers, Reds, Phillies, Braves, Cubs, and D-backs.
Hmm.
I haven't predicted the playoffs. Did you predict the playoffs?
No.
No. No, I went that's no not that anybody cares. Reds over the Cubs, be the Phillies, D-backs over the Phillies. Long story short, Dodgers win the NL. And I have the Rangers winning the AL and then the Dodgers winning the World Series 3 games to 1.
Hmm.
Not a long shot. I'm sure
Yeah.
the biggest odds are with them. Let's go to our annual Jays predictions.
All right.
Um, I didn't. I have the RotoWire stats, but I thought we just instead of this year we'll just give our own stats and forget what they. I'm not even going to mention what they have.
Yep.
That's no fun.
Sounds good.
So we'll do Bo Bichette. What do you have for Bo? Average
I,
home runs and RBIs.
I'm thinking Bichette's going to be back to being Bichette. He's going to hit 296 with
Oh,
22 home runs and let's say 75 RBIs.
I'm a little bit lower at 285, 17, and 72.
Okay.
Vlad.
I think Vlad's going to have a big year. He's got a lot to prove.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a MVP candidate. I think he's going to hit 312 with 34 home runs and 110 RBIs.
We're pretty close. I have Vlad batting 310 with 40 bombs, 140, 104 RBIs.
Nice.
He's gonna be vintage Vlad,
Yeah,
hopefully.
hopefully.
Anthony Santander.
Santander, I think, is going to hit about 260 with 32 bombs and 104 RBIs.
I have him batting 245, 35 bombs, and 99 RBIs. Andres Jimenez.
What do you have there?
I got him batting. He's starting to get back. I think he's gonna take on this new hitting approach, and he's gonna be batting better than he did in Cleveland. I think he's gonna bat 265, 10 home runs. He's not a big power guy.
No.
45 RBIs, but I also have him stealing 30 bags.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
I also think he's going to improve his batting average. I think he's going to be hitting 245 with 4 home runs and probably around like 40 RBIs. But I believe, like you, he's going to be stealing a lot of bases. I don't think it's going to be 30, but I think he's going to be well over 20.
Well over 20, yeah. To be honest, I think the prediction from RotoWire is from 22, I think. Alejandro Kirk. I've been batting 267, 12 home runs, 47 RBIs, and one stolen base.
One stolen base. You got him stealing a
He's gonna,
bag. That's
he's
a
gonna
bingo
finally
card
get his
number right
stolen base.
there.
I should put some
I
money down in Vegas for that.
I think he's going to take his contract and buy himself a 270 average.
I like
He's
that. I
going to
like where you
have
put that.
his about his 15 home runs with about 60 RBIs.
Nice. George Springer, if he plays the whole year, which I don't think he will, I have him batting 232, 18 home runs, 59 RBIs.
Yeah, I got him batting 220
Yeah.
with about,
He's
you know, 15 home
I hope he
runs.
surprises us. I hope he like comes out of nowhere and hits like 270 vintage Springer.
Yeah, vintage Springer would be good.
275 with 20
265 with 30
bombs. Yeah.
bombs, that'd be great.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
Yeah.
Alan Roden.
All
I
right.
haven't batting.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
okay,
Go
here we
ahead.
go.
Go ahead. Yes.
Okay, so I haven't batting 250 with 6 home runs and 21 RBIs. What do you got?
I have him as the Blue Jays breakout player of the year.
Really, eh?
Yeah. I think he's going to hit for decent average, so I'm thinking probably around 270. And I he's got decent pop. Like he's not a
Yeah.
home run hitter, but I think he's going to hit a good 20 bombs.
Really? I would take that
Yeah.
100%. That'd be great. Ernie Clement, I got him batting 263, 5 home runs and 32 RBIs.
Yeah, that sounds about fair. Yeah, like 260 is probably what
Yeah.
I'd have him at, but about 5, 6 home runs.
It's pretty easy to like gauge what Clement's going to do. He always puts the bat on the ball, doesn't strike out a lot.
Yeah.
Nathan Lucas, I have him batting 270 with 1 home run, 33 RBIs.
I think Lucas is going to struggle a bit. I think he's going to hit 230 with about 7 home runs, 35 RBIs.
Yeah. And Varsho. So you mentioned breakout player. I have two. I know it's kind of I have nine breakout players for the Jays. I have okay. I have two breakout players for the Jays. One is Varsho. I think he's gonna. This is gonna be the year he breaks out of that 230 slump. He's gonna bat 280
Ooh,
with 22 home runs and 69 RBIs.
wow. 280. I don't think he's going to hit that high. I could see him hitting 250. I would love 250
Yeah,
with
yeah. So would
about
I.
24, 25 home runs and, like 60 RBIs would be good for him.
I think the break when you said breakout player, I think it's gonna be Andres Jimenez. I think he's gonna remind people a lot of Roberto Alomar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be exciting to watch him in the field, and he'll get. I think he'll get pumped up with that many fans in the stands and
Yeah.
fans in the stands. Get it? Moving on to the starters. I have Jose Barrios. with going 13-10 with a 3.95 ERA.
It's about fair. I've got him at 265 ERA
Yeah,
with
265.
365.
Oh, 365.
Yeah,
Okay.
not two. Oh, 265 would be awesome.
Wow. I'll take
Uh,
that.
365. I figure he's probably going to get around 12 wins.
I have Kevin Gosman 14 on 11 with a 3.32 ERA.
332. Yeah, that's about fair. I would say
Yeah,
around 340. I would say also around 13 to
14
14
wins.
wins, probably around 7 or 8 losses. It's going to have a whole bunch of no contests.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be a struggle for offense. Chris Bassett 11-12 with a 4.29 ERA.
429 is fair. I think it might be a little lower. I think it'll be about 410.
Okay.
And 12 wins seems about right.
Now this next one is the next two were difficult for me to guess.
Yep.
Bowden Francis.
What do you have
Like,
for him?
well, I have him at 9-12 with a 4.02 ERA.
402. Yeah. So it all depends
It's
on which
it's
Bowden Francis we get.
exactly. Do we get the first couple months of Bowden Francis from last year, or the last 2 months of Bowden Francis from last year?
Yeah, if we get
If
the
we get the
first
last
few
two months
months,
of
it's like,
Bowden Francis from last year, we have Nolan Ryan.
yeah, yeah. So
What do you
I think
what
he's
do you
going to
have?
fall somewhere in between. I think he'll
Yeah.
be at about 399 ERA,
Yeah.
which is serviceable. And
Perfect.
I don't think he'll have that many wins. I think he'll have like he'll struggle quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to have a lot of no contests. So probably around like
Um,
5 wins, 7 wins.
Mad Max.
Ugh. The Mad Max. Okay, I'm gonna say the Mad Max I want is the one that we're gonna get.
Nice.
I think we're gonna get 330 ERA
Okay.
with 14 wins, 7 losses, and probably around 200 strikeouts.
I have him going 10-6 with a 3.90 ERA.
390. So we're pretty close.
Pretty close. I mean, it might be. I struggled. It was either between 360, 390. I like the 200 strikeouts. He is a strikeout pitcher,
Yeah.
but he is 41. And I guess we'll only do the one reliever this year. We don't have to go through everybody. Um, Trevor Hoffman. Wow.
Showing your age.
No way ever. Between him and Craig Biggio. Jeff Hoffman. Let's try that one instead. Closer for the Jays.
Yep.
I'm having 32 saves and a 2.78 ERA.
Yeah, that sounds about fair. I would say, yeah, I would say a mid two ERA, probably 260.
I think as long as he equals, if not a little bit better than Romano in Philadelphia, I think we're happy with that.
Yeah.
He looks good in spring training again.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add to the prediction show?
No, I think that kind of like sums it all up. I think we've got our bases covered there.
Bases covered. Like
Bases
it.
covered.
Yeah, it's going to be a really. I'm looking forward to it. Opening day for the Blue Jays starts on Thursday at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Damn it.
Unfortunately for Ivan, who has to work.
I have to work. Can't play hooky.
We'll keep you updated. And I think they start off with a 3 game or 4 game series against
Yeah, they're
Baltimore.
they're playing Thursday or yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against the Orioles. The crappy thing is that Friday's game is an Apple TV game, which means I won't be able to watch that one.
Yes, you can. You can come over to my place.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, Trying to find the Jays here. Hold on a second. Here's a little trivia thing for all you sports fans. Listen to this. I use my dad's MLB account, and he always has the Orioles as his favorite team. So now I'm trying to get the Jays. Well, I guess the Thursday, yeah, 3:07. The Jays have Jose Barrios on the mound against Eflin for the Orioles. Friday again, you said 7 on Apple TV. Who's starting then? It's Charlie Morton,
Oh,
another 85-year-old.
Yeah.
against Kevin Gosman.
Yeah.
And Saturday at 3:07, the Orioles haven't announced a pitcher yet, but the Jays have Max Scherzer on
Mad
Saturday.
Max on Saturday.
Yeah, that'll be good. So if anybody out there wants to come over and watch the Jays game on Friday on my Apple TV, you're more than welcome to. Anything else? Predictions for the opening series against Baltimore.
Okay. I think it's going to be a split.
Isn't it 3 games?
I thought it was four. Don't they play on Sunday also?
Uh, they do play on Sunday. Yes, you can say 2-2.
Yeah.
Chris Bassett pitches the last game. Ooh, and they're in Toronto. I'm going to go on a limb here and say the Toronto Blue Jays start off hot and go 3-game, 3-1.
Okay. I would love that. I would love
I will
that.
take a split.
But yes,
Trust
and
me.
and
But
the only reason I say that is because the Jays notoriously lose their opening games.
yes, except for that one year. I think it was what, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and
Yeah.
they won in extra innings. It was a crazy 20. It was 2022, I think. Was that Simeon's year or 2021? Anyways, it was one of those years that it was Chapman. We were all excited with it. This is the year he
Yeah.
came back and won that game, and I don't think they made the playoffs. But anyways,
Yeah.
anything else? That's it for me. Anything
That,
from you, Ivan?
no,
Close it
that's it
up.
for me.
All right, for myself and my buddy Ivan. Have a
Have
great
a
week,
good
everybody,
have a good week.
and we'll talk to you probably in the next couple weeks.